Thanks for subscribing and listening to the Clive Barker Podcast, the only podcast dedicated to the imagination of Clive Barker. In this episode 207, Rob returns to join Jose and me. We go over the Candyman news, lecture on Clive Barker, and what's going on with Paul Kane's Hellraisers. Yeah, all right, well, welcome. This is episode 207 of the Clive Barker Podcast, and today I'm Ryan, and we have Jose.
And we have Rob with us as well.
Yay.
Hey, Rob.
Oh, hey guys.
Rob's
nice to
back.
be on again. Yeah.
Hey, Rob, you've been doing some really awesome blog posts. I just want to put this out there.
Thank you. I've been enjoying doing them.
Yeah, we're going to be getting into those.
I hope the listeners have been enjoying because I do it for them.
Yeah. Well, and first up, we got in the news from the Reef, we've got Russell Charrington's. He's got some more art for sale. These are Cabal cut posters from the Days of the Dead and the New Beverly screening of the Cabal cut from back June 10th, 2012, I think it was.
Did you go to this one, Ryan?
No, I didn't. I think this is the one that Clive was at and Mark.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's since Russell Charrington is working on a new movie project, I think that he's trying to sell some of his collection to fund some trips that he has to do to Los Angeles and stuff. So these were 13 by 20 inch posters, and I think that they were going for $50, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were. They probably went pretty fast.
And they're autographed by Clive Barker. Yeah, we don't really know if they're sold out or not at this point.
Yeah.
But you can contact Russell Charrington through Twitter or Facebook, and get in touch with him and see if they're still available.
Right, and I think on Twitter he is Russell2112 because he's a Rush fan.
Yeah, right.
But he has also some Clive Barker art and sketches and stuff, and I think he also had some canvas paintings as well. So he's trying to sell some of those to fund some of these trips that he's doing to America. So you can help him fund his project, and just get in touch with him, and he'll let you know what he's got for sale.
Yeah, and okay, everybody take a deep breath because we've got a lot of Candyman news to get through.
Yeah, it was really like a big Candyman week full of news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a script update, right? The script is apparently the script is written, but they're still kind of being cagey about it, right? We don't really know when it takes place, or
Yeah.
Right. So, Rob, you wrote this article. You found this on Mashable, I think, in an old report from November, that the script for the so-called spiritual sequel of Candyman was written with co-writer Vin Rosenfeld. Shared this on the Twitter account. He said, "Wrote a scary-ass movie with Jordan Peele. It has a great hook."
You can't really get more blatant than that.
Yeah.
Can't wait to work with the brilliant Nia DaCosta, who's been tapped to direct, right? So So that's cool. They got the script ready, and I think they were starting production early next year, in January.
Spiritual sequel can mean a lot of things, right? I mean, sometimes you see somebody calls something a spiritual sequel because it's not like official licensed canon. That's not the case here, but it's like that's such a vague term. I wish they would be a little more specific.
So what I get out of this is that Vin Rosenfeld wrote the script along with Jordan Peele. So it seems that Jordan Peele has actually worked on the script. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a new movie coming out called Us too, which I'm curious to see, another kind of horror movie.
Oh.
So we'll see what that's like. It can only help that Candyman film, if it's a successful film, it can only help Candyman get made faster.
So does a spiritual sequel mean that it's a sequel to only some of the movies? Like,
probably.
Maybe they're ignoring Candyman 3?
I think you're right about that. Yeah, I think you're right about that. I would say it probably takes elements from the first movie and kind of like the new Halloween. I've not seen the new Halloween. I actually watched the first 10 minutes on YouTube. Looked pretty cool. But I think it's kind of like the new Halloween. Let's do something the same, but add something new to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
what that means yet, because like I said, I've not seen the new Halloween, but it's interesting. It's an interesting term. I would assume you're right, though, that I don't think they're going to have Candyman 3, or maybe not even Farewell to the Flesh even.
Right. I was looking at Win Rosenfeld on IMDb, and I see here that he's a producer, production manager, and an editor, and he worked as a producer on BlacKKlansman. And before that, he also did some work for the Twilight Zone TV series that's filming now for 2019. Oh. So they're bringing back the Twilight Zone. I read about this earlier, but now it's just kicking in that they're coming back with a new Twilight Zone show as well for 2019.
That'd be the second time that it's being remade, because there was an 80s version of the Twilight Zone.
Right, yeah. And he also worked in Nova Science Now TV series documentary for Nova. So you got some talented people working for this Candyman spiritual sequel. So if they manage to secure Tony Todd for a cameo or even like reprisal of his role, I don't know what they're thinking about, but that would be really, really sweet.
Yeah. But also, Danny Stewart he started a Facebook group called hashtag Bring Back Jake. Came in 2020, and that actor is actually that played Jake is actually involved in that. I mean, he's actually pretty, Danny's got in contact with that actor that played Jake and is, the
little kid. The little kid in the first one. I think the actor's name is Juan Guy. So, that's I've been seeing that. He
wants to come back and play the character. So that'd be cool if they brought him back.
You mean Candyman ain't real?
Yeah.
And you know what's really fun is that Virginia Madsen, who was in the first Candyman, she posted on Instagram, I think, a picture of herself in her bathroom looking at the mirror, and she said, "So here's my callback."
That's great.
Yeah. So hashtag Candyman. Yeah, she posted that on.
Getting back into the Candyman mood.
Yeah. I'm all for more Candyman. You know, I want to see more Candyman. I want to see more Lord of Illusions. I can't get enough of this stuff. I want more Nightbreed and
more Clive Barker stuff in general.
Yeah, more Clive Barker stuff in general. That'd be great. I mean, I'm biased because I'm, in the Barker cast, but
well, and people are worried about it, but it's got to be better than Candyman 3.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't like it, then you just don't watch it anymore.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, it's not the end of the world if it's a bad sequel. It's not like Candyman was going anywhere before. They hadn't done anything with it since when was Candyman 3, like 99 or something?
Oh wow.
Yes, exactly 99.
Okay, there you go.
I was coming back the reason I know that is because I was coming back from my brother a trip from New Orleans, seeing him.
Oh wow.
And I had Fangoria. I'm pretty sure that it was 99.
It is. I'm just looking at IMDb.
So when this movie comes out, there won't have been a Candyman movie for 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
Wow. That is crazy.
Doesn't
20
seem
years.
that long for some reason.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it was
maybe it's because we watched part 3. We watched part 3 on that commentary track, so
a
while back.
Us, and I think that might have been the first time I'd ever seen it, because I really didn't remember Candyman 3 until we talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
I thought the first and second were really good. I really enjoy the one with the New Orleans background and all that. I think that was a perfect backdrop for Candyman, even though he was supposedly, started in Chicago. So we'll see what happens with this whole Cabrini Green thing. They mentioned they're going to be maybe going before Cabrini Green, I think. They mentioned something about that, didn't they?
Yeah, it's tricky because I think the language is like they're going to the area that was formerly Cabrini Green, and that made me think it was some kind of a prequel, but I think what they mean is it's not Cabrini Green anymore.
Right, because that was demolished.
Yeah, so it still
20 years ago.
It still could be a sequel taking place in modern day. So
as long as they got a good original idea for the story, that's what matters. And in terms of original ideas, Danny Stewart, who was producer in the Leviathan documentary and who's been doing some interesting poster commissions for certain Hellraiser movies, and I think we've covered those on the blog. He's now he was in touch with Anthony Galatis, an artist who we've shared a lot on the Facebook page and on our BarkerCast page. and he's actually commissioned something called Bride of Candyman, right? Or Bride for a Candyman.
Yeah, something. He showed me some of the sketch work that artist had done, and I felt maybe this would be a good for an article.
Yeah, it was
really
it was an
nice
amazing
sketch
place.
work.
So
Really remote.
I'm confused by it. Is he basing this on Bernard Rose's old sequel idea that didn't happen?
No, it's just something that he's come up with. I think just kind of on his own, and kind of trying to just show the filmmakers, hey, this is something the way the a possible sequel could go.
Yeah.
But since there's a script written on we'll just have to wait and see what they've come up with. This is just purely what I call fan fiction.
Yeah.
Right here. But they're just having a lot of some fun. But I think it's really cool that they went out, really did some cool work here, and I think maybe be shown to the filmmakers and possibly some possible strong images that could be made and maybe possibly made into the movie or make it into the film.
Yeah, or if they don't make it into this next film, maybe for an upcoming sequel, that would be a tremendous idea, I think. I'm looking at the artwork that they came up with on our blog, and very amazing stuff. I mean, you got Candyman, you got Helen. She's got the burnt hair from the ending of the first movie, and that would have been amazing because at the end of the first film, right? So her cheating husband, Helen's cheating husband, is after Helen dies in the bonfire, and he's like feeling guilty, and he's like going into the bathroom, and he kind of says her name like 5 times, and then she shows up with a hook, right? So
yeah.
The hook that little Jake drops into her funeral on top of the casket, and it was kind of like a passing of the torch. In this case, it was a passing of the hook, and so she shows up in the mirror, and then she kind of kills her cheating husband. And I always wondered where that was going to go. That felt a little bit like the ending of Hellbound, where Julia emerges from the mattress, and she kind of. Yeah, she kind of takes the mantle of being the villain now. But then they completely, forgot about that for the second movie and the third movie, so that never came back. But what if it did, right? What if it did? Yeah. What if Candyman would have his bride, just like Frankenstein has his bride? I felt there was a lot of potential with that idea.
Yeah, I do too. I'd love to see where it can go. I think when I was doing my review for the Blu-ray for the Candyman from Era Video, there's a short documentary where they talk with the actress Virginia Madsen, and she talks about how Candyman was one of her favorite experiences. So I don't see why she wouldn't want to come back. So for another one, if the story was good.
Yeah. So for me, she's always going to be Princess Irulan from Dune.
Oh yeah, she opens the film.
Yeah, she does. She's
the one that utters the word. No, I always love the way she says Dune.
Yeah,
it's very sexy. She's very attractive. I always thought she was very. Yeah. She was very easy on the eyes in Candyman.
Yeah, absolutely. She plays the academic who's working on the urban legend. We're guessing it's a PhD thing she's doing or something, but So the connection between Candyman and Helen seemed like a pivotal part of the film, and then they never really brought it back. And when they did, they just brought back the original romantic connection between Candyman, Daniel Robitaille, and the slave who was painting a portrait of the plantation owner's daughter, Helen. And was it Helen?
No,
Wait,
I don't think. I can't.
It was a different name.
What her name was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a different name. But they focused more on that original connection, romantic connection, and then they forgot about the whole. It was always you, Helen. From the first movie, and you're like, well, whatever happened to that? It's almost like The Mummy, where the Imhotep guy comes back from the dead, and then he wants to bring back his love as well, who's been mummified or reincarnated through the ages into another woman. And then, and I felt that they were going for the same thing in the first Candyman, and then they never really brought Helen back. So I think that Danny Stewart and Anthony Galatis' idea is really, really something that it could have been in a different universe, right? Hey, what if they had gone with this and made a Candyman 2 and brought back Helen, and now she was like also a spirit, connected to Candyman, and they could be like partners.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should do a comic book or something like that.
Yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth, Ron. I was going to say maybe a graphic novel.
Yeah.
So take a look at the article that Rob made. It's in the blog. It's called BlacKKKlansman Presents Danny Stewart's Bride for a Candyman. And you can find Anthony Galatis on Facebook. And, he's got amazing art that we've shared before. So go there and let them know how much you love these concept art sketches, because they're really amazing.
And speaking of Candyman, of course, Tony Todd is going to be at Days of the Dead Atlanta doing a photo op in his Candyman outfit. So that's kind of cool. For anybody,
I assume it's from the original outfit with the the way.
I hope so.
A lot of people call it the. I don't want to call it the pimp looking coat. I mean, I hate to call it that, but it's kind of that's what people.
Yeah, with the big fuzzy, furry collar.
That's not what it is, though. That's the only way I can refer.
Yeah, I'm not sure because they have a picture, but that may not represent. Maybe they don't even know which outfit he's bringing.
I hope it's that one. To be honest, I like that coat the best.
Yeah, well, I really hope it's not the Candyman 3 one with the plastic like guts and stuff.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
Yeah. Well, when Doug Bradley did this for the Pinhead Experience, right? I thought that was a really original idea. I mean, I wasn't super into the whole horror convention circuit. So like I said, the first time I went to one of these conventions was the Texas Frightmare weekend. But I remember that Doug Bradley did do that Pinhead Experience.
Yeah.
And he got, who was the guy that he got to make the makeup?
Tom Savini.
Tom Savini, that's right. Yeah. So that was some serious talent right there to make the makeup and apply it and all that. So I don't know who Tony Todd's going to get. It doesn't really require facial prosthetics. So it just really requires him having the coat and the hook, which seems like a pretty straightforward way to do it. So it's probably going to be done pretty well. And
well, and he won't have to remake hell, in his at his table or whatever. It's just going to be you can take a picture of me with my out costume on. So hopefully it'll be a little less complicated than what Doug Bradley was trying to do.
And he's not just going to do photo ops with fans by himself. He's also going to do them with Clive Barker at the Atlanta Days of the Dead
that's cool.
event. So it's a great chance, like you said, Rob, to meet both Clive and Tony at the same time.
So that means Clive is going to be in 3 different sets of photo ops because he'll be doing the Hellraiser reunion one and the ones by himself and the Candyman one.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's doing all that. It kind of, him getting back. Like I wrote that article before. I'm glad to see him get back out there.
So that's going to be Days of the Dead Atlanta, and this happens January 25 through the 27th in 2019. And you got tickets on sale we have a link for that at the blog post, so we'll put that in the show notes. So you guys can go there and get your ticket.
And the last little bit of Candyman news. This is really obscure, but we had somebody send us a link to what he said. Look, and it was it said Candyman, and it was a book, and we're like, what is that? So we figured out a little bit more about it. It is it's the short story, The Forbidden. So it's got a book by itself in Brazil, so it's in Portuguese.
Right. So this is my time to shine now.
Right.
And so, it's really cool looking. It's got a great cover. It seems like this publishing company. Let me see. Do we have a link for that? I forgot.
No, I don't. Yeah, because the link he gave me didn't work. And then Phil and Sarah have also since then they've also shared it on their page. Yeah,
so it's Dark Side Books, and it's going to come out in 2019. And if you go to Dark Side Books' page, you can see that they specialize in making really, really good deluxe editions of horror stories and books and stuff like that. So it's truly, truly amazing. And the cover for the book seems like it depicts this honeycomb background, and then you take it out of the what do you call the box that you put a book inside to protect it, the slipcase. So you take it out of the slipcase cover, and it's got this amazing black and white piece of artwork with a bee, but the bee has a human head and a crown, and it's got all these like organs visible on the inside, and it's really, really something really cool. And the stinger for the bee is a hook, so I think that's really, really works really well. So if you speak Portuguese or you're into collecting these deluxe editions, this is a good chance.
Just get it for the design work, because it's worth having it alone.
Yeah, so they call it Candyman, but it's actually the forbidden story that's inside. So I don't know how big it's going to be or if it has any sort of bonus material in there, but I'd get it just for the design. It's a truly amazing release.
Awesome. Yeah, it does look really cool. So that's cool.
Very true.
It'd be kind of nice if that were in the U.S. also.
Hopefully, maybe that can happen in the future. Get that edition, to the stateside.
Yeah. So next up, Sorcha Neline, who's been on our podcast before, she has been invited to present at Miskatonic University in a lecture that's called "The Dark Art of Clive Barker."
In May, so
so you can
the
buy
Miskatonic Institute, So the Miskatonic Institute, which is a really funny name, because of course it's a play.
Lovecraft.
Yeah, it's a play on the Miskatonic University of H.P. Lovecraft, his fiction, but so that's going to be really, really cool. She is going to do that Thursday, May 9 of 2019, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Location is at the Horse Hospital. That's kind of a weird name. In London. So we have a link for that I think we'll put on the show notes. Yes. And Sorcha Neline, of course, edited Clive Barker Dark Imaginer with all those academic essays that we've discussed in a previous episode. And I believe that this will be a more condensed version of, Clive Barker's work and an appreciation of it. So seems like if you live in London, this is definitely an event that you want to go.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous. I wish I could go to that. That would be neat. And we almost had Paul Kane's Hellraisers was almost available to buy, right, Rob? I think you had posted a story, but then you had to retract
it down.
Yeah.
One person actually did buy it, and that's Danny Stewart. So I actually asked him, if you could send me some of the, I'd like to hear your take on, some of the interviews, what they were like.
But I think it was pulled down on Amazon, right? According to Paul Kane. Because
but something about that layout was off. The layout of the book.
So the interview book called Hellraisers was available on Kindle version with the paperback or hardcover to follow soon, and it was available for sale. I think it was like $7.99 Great Britain pounds, $9.99 Great Britain pounds, and exactly. I thought I was at work when I saw that, and I thought, well, when I get home, I'll probably buy that and see what it looks like. And then by the time I got home,
that message, I was like, well, this is, the latest on this book. And it just seems like this book is having a hard time finding a life out in the world. So I said it's kind of like the bloodline of Hellraiser books or something. Yeah. It's just having a hard time getting out there.
Yeah.
It'll get out there. It'll get out there.
I've been looking forward to this book for a long time. I think I pre-ordered it when it originally got announced as pre-order, and I don't even remember.
Like 2013 or something like that?
No, I think it was earlier than that. I think it was even earlier than that. It used to be Avallard Publishing was going to put it out, and then
they're still putting it out.
Yeah. I think my emails go back to 2012.
Wow.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it in May of 2012, and it's been over. Yeah,
that's
so it's
6 years.
It's been a while since this book has been put on pre-order, and I kind of feel sorry that I missed on buying the Kindle version yesterday, but it should be coming out soon. So now that it was already put out on Amazon as a Kindle version, and they're just doing some layout changes, right? So it should be just about ready to come out. because I remember that Paul Kane told us at the time that he did an interview with Kevin Yeager years ago that he was talking about Hellraiser Bloodline. And now we've done an interview with Kevin Yeager talking about Hellraiser Bloodline by this time. So it's going to be interesting to see what topics they approach on that interview in the book, Hellraisers.
Yeah, I'm really excited to finally see that one come out. And I'm sure that Paul Kane is too, although he's got no shortage of books coming out.
He must put out, at least, I don't know how many books a year. I mean, he's a writing machine.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I always call him, the writing machine.
Yeah, and I want to talk about Deep Red, but it's like we crammed in so much stuff for the end of the year.
Yeah, that's the last book in that trilogy.
We'll still do it because we did the other two, but it'll have to be like maybe in January or February. Yeah. And also going back to Candyman again. So if you listen to the Cinema Bluster podcast with David, who's been on our show before, and Travis, they're talking. Their new episode 63 is talking about Creed 2, BlacKKKlansman, Sorry to Bother You, and the Candyman Blu-ray. I think in that episode he's even comparing the Arrow versus the Shout Factory releases.
Yeah, that's right.
And I just found out that Clive Barker did do interviews for both versions of that of those Blu-rays, right?
He did. Okay, I thought the interview for so they're both different ones, is what you're saying.
Well, I was looking at the Clive Barker info website, the Revelations, and I on their main site they did announce it that Clive chats about Candyman for the Arrow video and Shout Factory limited edition Candyman 2K Blu-ray releases. So they did announce that.
Okay,
good.
I think, I haven't gotten those yet. It's been kind of a hard month in December to order all these things, but we'll get to it. But you already got to it, Rob. You already reviewed the Candyman Arrow version. Yeah,
that was very exhausting, but worth it every cent.
A wonderful article. I really had fun looking at that stuff, and you were very detailed. You posted all the little postcards that come with it, the Chicago Dispatch newspaper page.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And the Bernard Rose storyboards, and they're in color too. It's amazing. You look at that little booklet, and it's really, really cool.
Yeah. Probably my favorite feature on the whole thing was, like I said before, it's the Clive Barker interview. Him, talking about what he does, what he does about it, why he does what he does, and why he loves it. And him getting personal about his, basically talking about his life.
Yeah. The divine explicit.
Took a lot of courage to do that, and I don't think I've seen an interview where he's been so open before. If there is one, I'd like to see it. If somebody can point me, he was, very, it really kind of touched my heart, the things he had to say, especially the way it ended, what he had to say about the final quote he said was very memorable.
That article that you wrote earlier, Homecoming, welcoming back Clive Barker, it really had an impact on a lot of our listeners. And we got a lot of feedback about that. And a lot of people liked that post, and they were sharing it around. And some people were really touched by the clips of the interview that you posted along with the blog post. So that was a very good feature that you did as well. It's been really good seeing you come back to the blog. And now you're back with us on the episode again. So it's great to have you back, Rob.
I appreciate that. I'd been wanting to do that article about Clive since we were at Texas Frightmare.
Yeah.
I could never get that out for some reason. That was a hard, because I wanted to write, do an article as soon as we got home, because meeting Clive was so. But for some reason, I just couldn't get it out. And then one night I just started writing that after I saw that interview, and it just came out. But I'm glad everybody enjoyed that article. I enjoyed writing it. It was, a very personal article to me about Clive and how I feel about Clive.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I was particularly touched by the section where you mentioned something about when we were going to do the photo op and Clive was sitting in the chair and we just walked over and he was like, "Hey, the gang's all here."
Yeah, that was great.
You mentioned that once you got to that point and you just you just kind of crouched down next to Clive, and you felt calm. It's like, hey, here it is. Clive Barker meeting the artist that I've been appreciating for so many years, and he's here. We're taking a picture together, and it feels really nice to finally get to meet him and be able to say, hey, I'm one of the people who really appreciates your work. And I think that's something that a lot of fans could relate to, that experience. And you wrote it down beautifully.
Well, it just came out so natural, the way, writing it, because that's just the way Clive makes me feel whenever I experience his work. I'm reading the Hunters in the Snow right now. Mm-hmm. I'm finally getting around to reading that. And whenever I read his work, I'm captured in another world, And being around him, it made you feel, just like you're just, I don't know, I just felt calm. I just didn't feel like sometimes people get starstruck, and I've seen them cry. They start to cry.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
I've never felt that way.
Yeah.
Around, I didn't feel that way around him. I didn't feel nervous. It felt like, he was just another person, and that's what he is. He's just another. He's he's not just another person. He's a genius, but
yeah.
And it's hard to put into words. I guess even that to define him is hard to put into words.
I guess when you meet someone physically, it does kind of humanize them a little bit, even if you're kind of like starstruck, like you said, to a certain extent. When you see them actually like right in front of you, it's like, hey, here's a person, and I'm going to communicate with them, and I'm going to connect to them. And, even though he's an artist and I'm not, we share the same love for this sort of fiction and this sort of poetry and all that. So it's art unites people and connects people. And people who love the same kind of artist, then they connect themselves, just like all our listeners and us as fans of Clive Barker. It's like, hey, this is the kind of art that we like, and this is one of the artists that we like, and it makes us bond together. So we can talk about, hey, did you see that movie? Did you like that book? And it's a way for people to bond over art, which I think is a really wonderful thing, like we're doing right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, but there's also.
Jose.
Yeah, there's also funny stuff on your review of the Blu-ray, the Arrow Blu-ray for Candyman. There's also some really funny stuff here. Like, for example, how the producers wanted Candyman to be more like an Eddie Murphy kind of character, which it would not have worked at all. I mean, I don't think that would have worked at all.
No.
Yeah, but
I wonder if they originally even maybe asked Eddie Murphy to do it. I mean, I'd be kind of curious to know.
And some crazy ideas, like they wanted at one point to cross over Candyman with Leprechaun.
Yeah,
it's like what?
Leprechaun and the Crypt Keeper.
The Crypt Keeper.
Yeah. I mean, come on. I mean, I couldn't even. Why would you even pitch something like that? I'd be too embarrassed.
No, yeah, and
I have too much pride in art, and
and the tone doesn't fit. I mean, at all.
No, I mean, I just know.
Yeah. How about Candyman versus the Harlem Globetrotters?
Yeah. Oh, another one of my favorite, another funny part in this review or watching during this was making the hook. Was during the effects documentary when they talk about how the hook is made and how Gary Tunnicliffe they actually had a what do you call it, a blacksmith make the hook, and it was perfect.
I see.
He made the hook, and it turned out to be perfect. But the whole thing, the blacksmith, when they came to pick it up, they told him, what they were making it for, a horror movie, and it was, Clive Barker, and the blacksmith was like, okay, fine, that's whatever. And they came to pick him up in the blacksmith shop, put it in George. He's like, you're not getting this because me and my son, we love the Lord.
Yeah.
You're basically, you're the spawns of Satan. So the hook was actually made by Gary Tunnicliffe, and I think it was probably better for it because he said he put so much anger into that hook, bending the hook and shaping it because of the situation with this guy.
Oh yeah. Well, and honestly, it probably was lighter and easier for Tony Todd to swing around than a big iron hook.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's part of Forbidden Flesh, the makeup effects of Candyman. So this is a chock-full edition. You got a story to tell. Clive Barker's the Candyman. Douglas E. Winter talks about the Forbidden, and he's the guy who wrote that
Dark Fantastic.
the Dark Fantastic, the authorized biography. And then even also, who am I thinking of? Stephen Jones, who was publicist for Hellraiser and Nightbreed and stuff like that. He also writes about Candyman and the Forbidden, and they talk about that. So really, really good, highly recommended from Rob. So go check out his review. And I'm sure if you're on the fence about this, I think this is definitely going to turn you completely into ordering this.
Oh, it's
Arrow
highly
edition.
worth it, guys. It really is. Hopefully it'll it's still available in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Region B release, but like I said in my review, Scream Factory has released their own edition as well. I don't know what's on that one, so because I don't think I'm going to pick that one up. But go listen to David Sharp's review. I haven't got a chance to. He compares the two.
Yeah. So I guess there's lots of people this winter were caught themselves in front of a mirror calling out Candyman 5 times. I know for sure Danny Stewart did it. He recorded himself on Facebook saying Candyman in front of his mirror like 5 times. But this has definitely been the fall and winter of Candyman. And I think 2019 with the new Nia DaCosta and Jordan Peele movie, I'm very curious to see what's going to happen with their production. And when more stuff comes out, and eventually I guess they will have to release something about how the new Candyman is going to look like. So I'm looking forward to that reveal.
Yeah, well, and going back to what you were saying about our experience at Texas Frightmare Weekend, we wouldn't have been able to do that if it weren't for our listeners and our Kickstarter backers.
Oh, definitely.
We are in the final days of our Kickstarter, of our new Kickstarter for the upcoming season for 2019. And so right now we are at $12.59, which is awesome. We've hit most of our stretch goals, but there are still a few more. In just like $41, we will be able to do audio commentaries for
Sabrina.
Yeah, so the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which is a Netflix TV show, and it features Clive Barker's artwork in the Satanic Academy where Sabrina goes to school.
Mm-hmm. That's something to look forward to. We would love to do those commentary tracks for the episodes. You said you already watched some, right, Ryan?
Yeah. I've watched that series. I really liked it. Honestly, I was so engrossed in the show that I forgot to watch for Clive Barker's art. Because it's really subtle the way they kind of fit it in there, so you have to pay really close attention. So I need to go back anyway and watch them again so that I can watch for that.
So that's on Netflix. And Rob, do you have Netflix? Have you watched any of that?
I have not.
Okay.
I've been honestly watching a lot of Quantum Leap.
Oh,
awesome! I love that show.
Scott Bakula, because Scott Bakula, Lord of Illusions. But it's funny. I want to do an article about how there's a lot of people that from Clive Barker that have been in Clive Barker movies that are in Quantum Leap over the years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very strange. Yeah, there's a lot of people. So look for an article soon on
that's
Quantum.
Cool.
I'd like
awesome. And did you know there were comic books for Quantum Leap?
No, I did not. I'd love to.
Yeah. I'll have to send those to you. I think I have those in PDF. There were Quantum Leap comic books for a while, and I always loved that show. I felt there was so much potential for them to move on into different seasons with, because at one point you get this implication that there were other Quantum Leapers. And that there was like this good people and bad people going around through the timelines, either fixing things or making them broken again. And there was that bar with the guy at the end, the bartender who's like God or something. That thing could have gone. They could have made so many interesting storylines with that. And unfortunately, they ended Quantum Leap and they never brought it back. I'm curious, of all these shows that have been brought back from the 80s and 90s that turn into movies or rebooted into new TV shows, nobody's ever brought back Quantum Leap yet.
Well, they were talking about a year ago about making a movie. I know a script's been written by the creator.
Oh, wow.
So there's that. So you never know.
Yeah,
I'd love to see a movie
great.
to that because I felt sad at the end of that show.
Yeah,
You know how it ends. Sam never gets home, so
never gets home. Yeah, but
and always,
well, he's following his mission, I guess. In that sense, he found his purpose. And the other guy, the guy who's at the lab talking to Z. Al, yeah, Al does get.
Al.
Yeah, Al does get to go back in time or something and talk to his wife, I think. I need to get back into that show.
Yeah.
I'm sure lots of people are like, Quantum Leap, what's that? Go check it out. It's really good.
Yeah, and then our next stretch goal is audio commentary for The Last Movie Star. It's a Burt Reynolds movie, and that also features Clive Barker artwork on one of the main characters' jacket. So we'll do audio commentary for that one. The Duels of Blood, Volume 4. So then that'll have Nightbreed characters, actual Nightbreed monsters pitted against each other. And
we should separate them into clans instead of like brackets.
Well, yeah, I don't think we'd be doing any brackets again this time because they're all just, they're all just the breed. So
64 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, which, we were able to do it with Cenobites because of the comic books, so I think that we would also be able to do it with Nightbreed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, our last stretch goal, we would be doing audio commentaries for all the various movies that are featured in Clive Barker's A to Z of Horror. So there aren't enough weeks in the year to do all of them, I don't think, based on all the other stuff that we'd be doing for the year. But we would at least get it started, and then maybe finish in the next year.
That'd be amazing. Wasn't there one that shows up in A through Z of Horror that's like it has like rappers and I forgot what it was called. It has like
Tales from the Hood.
Tales from the Hood, yeah. They were doing a second one, right? They were doing a sequel at some point recently.
I think it's come out, and from what I've heard, it wasn't very good. Not nearly as good as the first one.
Yeah.
They talked about it on Cinema Bluster, that one wasn't very good, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Rusty Cundiff, 1995 horror drama anthology. And it's actually out on Blu-ray, the first one. So that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, Tales from the Hood. That should be a very interesting, commentary track. So, if you guys want to hear that, here's your chance to support us, and we'll be able to do those commentaries.
And of course, you don't have to just give us money for nothing. You can if you want to, but we still have lots of stuff available on the Kickstarter that you can get as backer rewards. We have, you can get personal thanks if you just want to do $1 or something. We still have the Clive Barker nail wraps, which I have to admit that I don't really know what a nail wrap is. So I haven't done a really good job advertising these because I don't really understand what those things are.
It's like a sticker you put on your nail, and then you kind of trim it around the cuticle, and it looks like you've painted your nail, but it's actually just a sticker that you put on your nail.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Imagica cards, there are still plenty of those, and I'll be really generous with them. I'll definitely send out a lot more than the value that you put in. So if anyone's interested in Imagica cards, we still have those. We have a sticker of one of the Clive Barker painting ink blots from Cabal. It's Cabal's face.
Uh-huh.
We have pins and patches. We have Thief of Always journals. We have iPhone 7 cases. So I know this is really specific to people because even my phone is an iPhone 7 Plus. So I would have totally stolen one of those, but my phone is too big for it. But if you have an iPhone 7, we have 2 of those cases. We have tote bags. Some of them have Terry cats on them, and those are awesome. And even Jennifer liked that one. So, if those don't sell, we're going to probably keep one of those.
Yeah.
And a pinhead tote bag. And those are like shopping bags like you'd use at the grocery store. So imagine that instead of it having some advertisement for some dumb company that you got for free at a convention or something, you get one with Clive Barker stuff on it. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
We have lots and lots of different kinds of posters, some of them just individual ones. And some we still have lots of the ones with the Clive Barker quote. The
don't trust the smiling world.
Yeah, don't trust the smiling world. My mind blanked on that for a second. There. Yeah, so that's a cool poster. It was made up for the Clive Barker Society the Clive Barker Society that didn't.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't take off. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can plan an episode with us, and we've had one person already take us up on that, and we're looking forward to that.
Yay!
Yeah, and advertising, and I've heard word that our returning sponsor is going to come back, and we're hoping, and the biggest news, we just got donated to us a painting, an original Clive Barker painting.
That's right.
Thanks to Marcus Williams for sending that to us, and we're so thrilled now we can announce that here that in our last 3 or 4 days. We have this painting available. If anybody, if you're looking for owning original Clive Barker art, it's not easy to get a hold of. I mean, you can get them, I think, on I think you can get some on the Clive Barker archive now, right?
I think so. Yeah, they got lots of merchandise.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is you can get an official real Clive Barker painting, and plus all that other stuff that I just talked about.
Yeah, so really, really generous a donation by Marcus Williams. He's one of our BarkerCast team members, along with David Sharp of Cinema Bluster, and of course Rob, who's here with us. But it's amazing. He just told us about that last night, and it was like, hey, I was looking at my collection, because if you look at the Marcus's also previous articles on the blog, he always has a lot to say about Clive Barker's artwork, and he's more of a Clive Barker art collector, and he's got paintings by Clive.
Hell of an artist too.
His
artwork is very Clive Barker inspired.
Yeah,
so if you ever see his artwork, it's very good.
Yeah, he writes poetry and he paints his own paintings as well, and he also expresses himself a lot through painting. And so he has a big collection of stuff. When he was at Texas Frightmare Weekend with us, he actually got a lovely sketch at the Clive Barker table. He purchased that one with a kind of a alien baby kind of thing. So that was a wonderful piece that he got, and he decided to donate this one, and we really appreciate it. And thanks, Marcus. We'll make sure he goes to a good home.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Marcus. We're I was really touched, and hopefully somebody here will get a chance to get this painting, and if not, we'll hang on to it for maybe next time. But yeah, it's out there. It's on the Kickstarter, and we, if you want to see us be able to do some more audio commentaries and bring the Duels of Blood back for another year, then come and check out our Kickstarter, and there's a link in the show notes. So speaking of Kickstarter, we started a book in a previous Kickstarter, and we have updates on it. So we've gotten some more interviews done, and big, huge special thanks to Raul from our Discord chat, because he just finished transcribing the interview that we did with Cliff McMillan from Shout Factory from the time that the director's cut of Nightbreed was on its way. Like, it wasn't finished yet, but he was telling us about what it was going to be like.
Thank you so much, Raul, for your help in crowd transcribing our book. And you can help too if you want to go to, for example, there's a service called www.temi.com, TEMI.com. And you can go there, and it's a website that does speech-to-text transcription in 5 minutes. So you just upload one of our episodes into it. It's got advanced speech recognition software, and you can try it for free. So you could do one episode if you'd like. You just register, and you get one transcription for free. And if you upload one of our episodes, then you can get it transcribed within 5 minutes, and then you can just send us the text file. And we'll be sure to use that to help make this book a reality.
And I think we have 1 or 2 episodes still that haven't been spoken for, because we've got a lot of listeners volunteering to help us out. But Raul is the first one to get one finished, besides one of us on our team here. But
right.
So yeah, we can still divvy out a couple of more if you want to help us out and have a really good chance of getting a copy of the book for free if you haven't already pre-ordered it.
Right. So that would really be a great help for us, and to make this book a reality in 2019, which I'm definitely sure it's going to happen. So go check it out. Go look at our Kickstarter if you want to order a copy of the book. We know for sure it's going to come out this 2019. So we're almost there.
Yeah. And so coming up next, we will be talking about Coldheart Canyon, and I might be feeling a little intimidated because we're going to have a guest, Dr. Sorcha Neeline, who is we were talking about earlier. She'll be lecturing on the art of Clive Barker. She is a professor and she teaches Clive Barker, and so
wow.
So that's a little intimidating. But
that is.
And she's actually specifically written articles about Coldheart Canyon. So that'll be a really good discussion that we'll have on that one.
We're going to have to step up our analytical skills.
Yeah.
That's an interesting book.
It's good to have people like that, like you can go to them if you have a question about something. Like with me, it's hard. I don't always pick up on the subtext of things. I'll admit to that. And it's good to have like people like you and Ryan and, just to help out fans that maybe not, or not. Magica is another book I need to reread. The first reading for that is so much. It's just it's the dry reading of the story. I mean, there's so much subtext and little things that you miss, I think.
Yeah, I think to even understand the book, you've got to come back a second time. At least that's how it was for me when I first read it in high school, and it takes a second reading to understand, to go back and go, oh yeah, that's this guy, like Dowd is introduced at the beginning, and then he's out of it for a while, and then he comes back later, and you're like, who is that again?
And I do admire the ability that people have, especially in academia, to be able to grab something that they love and be able to take it apart into components and analyze it. Because sometimes when you have a deep connection to a book or a story, it's kind of hard to deconstruct it and like try to see what makes it tick. It's like you don't want to dissect it, and then you're just left with a dead corpse on your hand, and
right.
You feel like somehow you've diminished it by analyzing it. So I've never really gone to that trouble of doing that with Imagica, but because it just means so much to me. Emotionally, it's a book that I really, really invested a lot of my, time, and I've read it more than twice, like 3 times. And then I just read sometimes bits of it when I'm feeling like I need a pickup. I need a pick me up. I just grab like an Imagica paperback and I just read a little bit of it, and I feel like, wow, look at this. This is really making me feel that going back to that first time when I read the book and I felt that magic.
I do that with Everbull a lot, with the section with Demore and the Devil, or the Devil and Demore. I reread that section quite a bit. I like that bit of storytelling by Clive. Demore.
With Father Hess and
I think it just
Stairs.
I think it just is a good way to fall in love with that character.
Yeah, and some people do that with the Bible. So that's Some people find comfort in the Bible. I find comfort in Imagica, and that might seem like a tall order thing to say, but So Coldheart Canyon, very, very interesting book. Kind of a later thing that Clive Barker came up with, and the story is very, very strange, interesting opening, and then there are these like parallels about living in LA and living in like a culture that deals a lot with superficiality and this sort of behind the scenes.
Yeah, I've never read it. I'm curious. I'd like to sit down and actually pick it up. Yeah, my cover for it is so. One of my cats got a hold of the cover and ripped it up, and I'm pissed at it right now. It happened about a year ago, and I just got so mad I haven't picked it up and read it yet. But it's a book that I definitely need to read.
Yeah, you can join us if you want for the discussion, or you can make an article about it. It's up to you. And then we will be coming up with 2018 in review, right, Ryan? It's going to be the first episode of 2019.
Yes, yeah, and that's kind of our annual tradition. We like to go over all of our favorite news and events and releases and stuff from 2000, from the previous year, and so we'll be doing that again. it'll be interesting to kind of go back and revisit it, because sometimes it feels like one big long thing, and it feels a little fuzzy. It's like, oh yeah, was that this year? And you forget, or you go. Sometimes you're like, oh yeah, the Scarlet Gospels was. It's like, no, that was like 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just depends on sometimes the things that we revisit for the podcast. They end up becoming more fresh in our mind.
Yeah.
But this is definitely going to be the year of Candyman and Hellraiser. And here I am probably misapplying this, because Hellraiser's 30th anniversary was 2017, not 2018. So there you go. I'm already talking about the 30th anniversary of Hellraiser, and that was 2 years ago,
Right.
1 year ago. But it's going to be interesting to come up with all the stuff, because sometimes people complain, well, nothing's coming out from Clive Barker. But it's like, no, there's a lot of stuff coming out. It's sometimes it's not new stuff, but sometimes it's material that we've never seen before. And so that there's always stuff that's coming out, and definitely play scripts by the Clive Barker Archive.
And the Imaginer books, they're up to number 6 now, so there will only be two more of those.
Right.
As far as we know, I mean, they could decide they want to keep going with it, but at this point.
Yep, you never know. Maybe they'll start doing more different art books for Clive Barker that won't be the Imaginer series, because that one's supposed to end at number 8, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yep.
Maybe they'll start adding letters to the spine of the book, and it'll be Imaginer by Clive Barker.
Yeah.
That would be something
is really, 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 really cool.
Yeah. Volume 35 of Imaginer.
Yeah.
We know that there's certainly enough paintings to go around. So
yeah, and his art style has been really really wild and eclectic, and has changed around a lot over the different years. So it'll be really neat to have that sort of visual history of Clive's art.
Yeah. So this is the last episode before Christmas and probably New Year. So we'll see.
Everybody has a good holidays.
We'll have the Coldheart Canyon one. Will be right before New Year.
Right before New Year, right? Yeah. So we'll still manage to squeeze that one in there.
Yeah.
And so I hope from us to you that everybody has a great holiday season, and read some Clive Barker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this podcast, having no beginning, will have no end.
You can find the show notes for this episode and join the discussion over at www.clivebarkercast.com, where we have news, features, reviews, and links to all the ways you can connect with us. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts and every other place you can find podcasts. Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial, podcast, and news blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans.
Thanks for listening.